What is up, guys? It's Wednesday night. Vlog number 20. Things are going pretty smoothly, staying consistent, staying committed. Wednesday night's my favorite run night of the week. Got to do a tempo run tonight. Went very strong. I took the cool down really mellow. Just been a little bit weird in the energy place with my energy. And so I ended up walking a lot of the cool down, just maintaining a zone 2 heart rate, like kind of bringing it back down. The tempo part was still very strong, strongest run I've had. Setting new milestones for me relative to Garmin. So that's a dope experience, I suppose. And like running faster feels easier. I think I need to go back and count the amount of tempo runs I've done, because what I wanted to do is after 6 weeks of kind of sticking at this tempo is bouncing back and forth with tempo runs and adding in some VO2 training sessions. So like some intervals maybe at the local track. So I'll run up to the track, which is probably about 1.5 miles away, and then use that as a warm-up, and then probably do like 8 intervals of 200 meters. Or the other thing that I had considered doing is I have a pretty decent hill near here, and so I'll run out to the hill, which is about 1.25 miles, probably give or take maybe 1 mile. Decent warm-up, be at the bottom of that hill, then do some hill sprints, probably start with 6 hill sprints, work my way up to 10 hill sprints, and then increase the time, like 10-second hill sprints. Looked like a very good, easy, consistent, not mentally challenging so much, but physically challenging, so maybe mentally challenging that way with the toughness of the workout, to really start to attack VO2 max and build even more stamina and muscular endurance and kind of raise the ceiling for what I can do. Just because I'm in this maintenance phase, it feels like, where I'm not really improving, and so I want to drive the next level of improvement. Additionally, something that I've really wanted to focus on, it's been really hit or miss, I haven't been terribly committed to it, is flexibility training, is really unlocking my hips and making sure, like, they feel pretty good just from a couple flexibility sessions a week, but really maybe doing it daily for 10 minutes, maybe twice a day, before I wake, or right after I wake up and before I go to bed. Man, I almost got that backwards. That was pretty weird. And just really working on hips and hamstrings and groin. Like, I think that entire area that I have is just super tight. And then additionally, what I really need to work on still is upper body tension, and really probably some flexibility throughout there. So maybe some child pose. I do have the opportunity to go to yoga at my climbing gym. So I am considering that, or even potentially joining a local yoga class, just to kind of incorporate that in and really introduce flexibility. Really for 2 reasons. One is my flexibility is just definitely not where it should be. If I want to go back into weight training, like, I know my hips are just shot and ankles are just shot relative to wanting to squat or do anything like that. And while I might never attack it from the strict bodybuilding or weightlifting sort of stance anymore, and really just incorporate dumbbells and kind of single leg movements and stuff like that, I think that the flexibility is really important. It's hard to have real true power through your range of motion while you lack flexibility. At least that's really I strongly hold that belief. And I think just additionally, as I get older, it's something that I definitely need to address. And climbing, flexibility is a huge deal. Your ability to reach, your ability to get closer to the wall by opening your hips or turning your hips, your ability to high step, and then additionally, like I said, from single leg strength, your ability to press up from a pistol squat position. These are all things that I need to work on and challenge myself in. Unfortunately, or I guess in a way, I should tell you, I'm gonna be taking this show on the road for the next 6-7 days. Tomorrow I'll be flying to Illinois, so I'll be visiting some friends and family over the next couple days, and then I'll be working in central Illinois. Planning to get my runs in at least, and additionally, I probably need to evaluate and take my climbing shoes, because I might have the opportunity to do some climbing in Illinois. So I need to check into that. I know returning the favor of the guy I took to the gym about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, whenever it was, I'd really like to take advantage of that, if not also potentially climbing at a separate gym. So I'm still getting in 2 sessions while I'm gone, which I think is the only, I'll be missing 3 sessions technically. So kind of not missing too much, which is okay. Like, my fingers really need a break. They're kind of garbage right now. Skin is really rough. I need to be taking a little bit better care of it. We're kind of thinking about why I train and really connecting some of the dots today, thinking about some of this stuff, which also, just as an aside, if you haven't noticed the way that the automatic thumbnails pick when I use my mouth so aggressively like that, like that, that's probably gonna be the thumbnail, just a heads up. So what I wanted to talk about was kind of strength of character. And what I mean by that is a lot of the training that I do, a lot of the racing that I've been doing for almost a year now, some of the challenges that I have done, climbing now, challenging myself to do very difficult things that I cannot do, or that I struggle to do when I start to do them, and really growing and to achieve them. Even these videos, even some of the writing that I'm doing, all these things, all these challenges physically, mentally, some of the emotional challenges that I would say I'm really trying to attack and improve in my ability to manage and think in a little bit clearer fashion and feel in a little bit clearer fashion that's not so anxious, incorporating elements of stoicism. A lot of that is really ultimately to build my character, and to prepare me for harder and harder challenges and more difficult challenges. So just raising that bar again and again and again. Like, if you ever played video games, getting stronger, getting more a power up, or getting more abilities as you progress through a game. I guess that's the way I'm approaching life, is I want to continue evolving like I discussed yesterday, continue evolving all the way up until hopefully the final seconds, just going the whole way, making the most of every minute. And so, like, looking at it, some of those characteristics, I guess, that I've really been working on and really been trying to prove to myself through these challenges and through these achievements. Every challenge and every achievement is just a piece of evidence in the book of your character. I want to be resilient. I want to understand and trust my resolve. I want to commit myself to something that I'm going to follow through with it. So a lot of these challenges, a lot of the difficult things that I face in life, I really try to take that perspective. That ultimately, one, you could consider it a chapter in your story, right? But then 2 is it's your evidence of who you are, and the self-esteem and self-confidence that you might need or might lack needs to be founded on your achievements and your successes and the challenges that you've overcome. And this would include, by the way, your failures. Successes aren't the only elements that add to your story or add to your character. In fact, I think that we typically learn more from our failures, right? That spurns, hopefully, the most growth. And so each one of these challenges and each one of these events or each one of these pursuits that I have, I believe really just fundamentally connects into building the traits and characteristics of the person that I want to be. I've thought of this as a concept of persona, and I've seen persona kind of vilified before. So I struggle with that, but I think if it's framed in the right way and it's a useful perspective, so to speak, then I would use it, right? If something's useful, use it. It seems kind of simple, but sometimes we miss the most simple stuff in front of us. I challenged one of my team members today, very sharp guy. He often gets in his own way, however. And I think that problems are only as difficult as we make them. Now, problems can require a lot of hard work, but they're not necessarily complicated. They're not necessarily complex problems. They can be very simple problems. We make them complex. So fundamentally, the advice that I would give is to ask basic questions and then try to answer them. See if we already have the answers. If you don't have the answers, see if you can go find them and see if the answers are adequate to the question. I think rudimentally, that's how I go about solving problems. Cracking the 10-minute mark here, I like to try to keep the vlogs just right around there at max. I enjoy how these are going. So for those of you that are tuning in at various points and down the line, I really appreciate it. Hopefully you're taking something away from the videos. I know I talk about a little bit about training, and I talk a little bit about ways of thinking and philosophy and stoicism and little different elements that I hope ultimately will be useful. So I appreciate it very much. You guys have a safe night.